Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you are new here, please subscribe. If you're old here and you're not subscribed, please subscribe. So today's video is going to be all about how to plan your courses as a freshman at Barnard. So this is a very specific video. Diana already made a video on how to plan your courses at Barnard and Columbia, but it's more general. It's not precisely tailored to freshmen, so I just thought that this video would be helpful for incoming freshmen. So this is advice from my experience, what I, regret taking, what I wish I had taken. So I hope this is really helpful to you guys. If you like this video, please like it. All right, let's get right into the video. So I will start with first year writing and first year seminar because those are two courses that you have to take in your first year. So if you're a freshman, you will be taking some sort of first year writing and some sort of first year seminar. Okay, so I will start with first year seminar because this is what I have a strong opinion on. So I went through the course catalog actually just now for fall 2020, and they have my favorite class available that you guys should all take, and that is Reacting to the Past. And oh my gosh, you guys, this class is iconic. It was so fun. It was like for real the highlight of my first semester. It was such a fun class. I made friends from that class because it's super interactive, so you get to know everybody. And basically what the class is, or the way we did it, was we had two different time periods. One was ancient Greece and one was the women's rights movement. You'll basically get two different time periods, and your professor will assign you a historical figure, and you have to act like that historical figure. Like as soon as you cross the threshold of the classroom, you are in character. And it's so fun. It's honestly like an acting class combined with, a regular class. And I seriously loved it. You just had to interact with the other students as that character, like you weren't yourself anymore. And the professor I had is teaching it for you guys in fall 2020, and that is Katie Glassner. She works in the dance department, I believe, and it was her first time teaching Reacting to the Past when my year 2016. I literally love her so much. She was so funny, so quirky, so awesome. I really, really loved her, and she definitely made the class a great experience, so I highly recommend taking it with Professor Glassner. And also I saw that another professor teaching a different section of Reacting to the Past is Mark Carnes. So I took one of his classes. It wasn't Reacting to the Past, it was something else in the history department. I love Mark Carnes. He is also a fabulous professor. He's so awesome, so I also recommend him. And then there was a third section with a different professor, which I can't speak on because I never had that professor. But just in general, if you can't tell what my advice is for first year seminar, it is take Reacting to the Past. And for first year writing, I looked at the courses offered and mine wasn't on there, so I don't really know how to give advice on that because I've never taken any of the courses offered for you guys. But I guess in general, a tip for being a first year and doing first year writing at Barnard is to utilize the writing fellows, who are a group of students who will help go over your essays with you, help you think out your ideas. It's basically like peer-to-peer advising, and I highly recommend that if you need help with your essays, or if you're used to getting A's and you get kind of a lower grade on your first essay. That's not unusual. Barnard is very demanding in terms of writing and essays. They really want you to be a good writer, and so I definitely recommend that resource for helping you out your first year. Okay, so my next tip is get your gym requirement out of the way your freshman year. Just do it. So to graduate Barnard, you have to have one gym class, so one semester of gym. I did mine my first semester. I really wanted a yoga class, which I didn't get into, and then I wanted like a self-defense class, I think it was, which I also didn't get into, and I ended up taking body sculpting. I didn't look if that's offered for you guys, but if it is, I highly recommend it. My teacher was Laura Masone, and she is really, really great, and I liked the class a lot. The general advice here is just do your gym class your first year, because I know a lot of upperclassmen, even some seniors, their senior year were like, I'm not going to graduate, I forgot to take my gym. And then it's actually really hard to get into these gym classes. They fill up very quickly. So to avoid a scramble your senior year or your junior year or whatever, just do it your freshman year, get it out of the way, and you'll be good. Get your language classes out of the way freshman year. So you need to take one full year of language at Barnard, and it has to be the same language both semesters. And so I took Spanish, and I took Spanish in high school. so I was already familiar with the language. And a tip with this is that, at least when I was a freshman in 2016, they had us take a placement test the summer before going to Barnard. It was in like June or July, and they used that placement test to, surprise, surprise, place you in whatever level for your Spanish class. So if you want an easy A, like if you're already good at Spanish, you know, maybe don't try to have a stellar performance on the placement test, because then you'll be placed in a high level and it might actually be pretty hard. Speaking from experience here, I kind of wish that I didn't kill myself trying to do well on this test, because it doesn't actually matter. You can take elementary Spanish 1 and it will still count. You don't have to aim for advanced 2 or whatever. So yeah, that's a tip with that. So the next thing that I wish I had taken earlier on in my Barnard career is my lab. So Diana and I both saved our lab for last semester of senior year, which was honestly not the move. Don't do what we did. Do as I say, not as I do. So labs actually fill up pretty quickly. In general, they're hard to get into. I think I tried to get into one my sophomore year, and I did not, because they prioritize upperclassmen, obviously, because without the lab, you're not going to graduate. So I guess this is kind of contradictory, because you're probably not going to get into a lab as a freshman, but shoot for the stars. Try to get into it, because it will be really helpful for you to just get it out of the way. And as far as my recommendation for which lab to take goes, I would say for one of your science classes, take Intro to Psych. It is the easiest A I have ever gotten. You guys take Intro to Psych. Sadly, the professor I had is no longer listed on the faculty of the psych department at Barnard, so I guess she no longer works there. But just in general, Intro to Psych is a very easy class. I'm sure you guys are very smart people and you will all be able to get an A in it. So I definitely recommend that. And then the lab that corresponds to Intro to Psych is called Intro to Experimental Psych Lab. Super easy A once again, which is kind of funny to say because this past semester was mandatory pass-fail, so neither Diana nor I actually got a grade for our psych lab, but I do imagine that I would have gotten an A because it's super straightforward. Do the work they give you, you will get a good grade. It's one of those classes where just do what you're told and you will be rewarded with a good grade. So I definitely recommend the Intro to Psych Lab, and I took it with Professor Light, and he is super great. He's so nice. He was such a good professor, and I really recommend him. So those were my more specific tips, but now on to some general tips. So as far as how many credits I think you should take, the credit minimum at Barnard is 12.5. You have to take 12.5 credits to be enrolled as a student. They recently changed the cap on the number of credits you can take. I think it's somewhere around 20 or 21. You're definitely going to want to fact check me on that, but I would recommend the goal range for how many credits you should take is like 15 to 17, maybe 18. To dorm life, all that kind of stuff, and just in general, it is a huge adjustment. Your whole freshman year is just very crazy, and I don't think you need to burden yourself with a really heavy workload or really hard classes, because that's just, you know, piling on too many difficult things, in my opinion. I don't think I could have handled that. So I really would recommend just taking not a ton of credits. Don't push yourself too hard. It's a marathon, not a sprint. You can take your first year, you know, really, really light, and I don't think that's a bad thing. And also, if you took AP classes, you will get credits for those classes. You won't place out of any classes, but you'll get credits. So I came into Barnard with 18 credits, which is basically a semester's worth of credits. But yeah, that's just from my experience. I don't think I would have done well if I took a lot more credits than even 16. Next piece of general advice, and you might not like this, but I don't know, it's just what I think, is don't focus on taking classes for your major. Focus on taking classes that fulfill the gen eds that you have to take to graduate. I say this because I know, like, this happened to me personally. I came in with the idea of one major and I ended up switching my major, and it worked out okay because all of the classes that I took in English, which is the major I dropped, I ended up using for an English minor. But I do think that it was a little ambitious of me to think that I wouldn't change my major, and so I took a bunch of classes that fulfilled my major, which didn't end up being my major. So not that it was a waste of time or anything, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying in general, I think you can use your freshman year to take some of your gen eds. as opposed to taking a bunch of classes for your major, because your major might change. And then in that case, you know, you could have used your time a little bit more wisely. So unless you're absolutely married to your major, I would say maybe focus on taking. And then the last tip is just to check the Snowbird Barnard website pretty frequently, because it gets updated. And I remember as a freshman, like if I couldn't find something one day, it would be there kind of the next day. So I do think they update the Snowbird website pretty frequently. So check back there, and it organizes everything that fulfills each requirement actually really well. And I found that really helpful to have everything compiled there. And then for other classes, you can look on the CU directory. Just Google CU course directory and it will take you to Columbia's course directory. And there you can narrow it down by class time, class day of the week, number of credits, or if you're not a morning person and you don't want anything before like 10 a.m., you can narrow it down that way. So yeah, those are just some helpful websites to use when you are trying to compile your class schedule. And then very last piece of advice is, if you're like me and you get really bad luck with your registration time, you probably won't get into all of your first choice classes. And just anticipate that you probably won't get all of the classes you want, because as a freshman, that's just the chances of you getting your ideal schedule are pretty slim, and that's okay. So don't be disappointed, because I literally had the worst luck with registration times my whole Barnard career, and I very frequently had to dip into my second, third, fourth choice classes. But I survived, and don't be disheartened if some of your favorite classes fill up and you don't get to take them. Okay, so that is it for this video. I hope this was helpful to all of you freshmen or even prospective students who are really jumping the gun on preparing for Barnard. If you have any more video requests, please leave them below and we will honestly almost guaranteed film it for you. And DM us on Instagram at MJDNNYC. We answer all of our DMs. Please subscribe. Tell any of your friends about our YouTube channel. That would be really helpful. Like our videos. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.